I'm now going to start my project for the laptop screen holder thing. So I'm going to go projects, new, single user. This is old hat at this point, and I'm going to call this laptop second screen. Laptop second screen. Yep, create it, done. Now my next step is I need to start modeling one part or the other. I think I'm going to start with the laptop. That seems like the more complicated one, and I tend to start with the more complicated one first. I'm going to go switch over to my drawings so we can take a look at those. And this is the screen, and then I have a keyboard on top on there. That's a similar size. We'll figure that out. Anything I have to change as we're going, but this is a good starting point. So I'm going to start with the screen because that's the part I have more measurements for, and that's the more important portion. I'm going to use a second center point rectangle. And I know that this is 8 3/4 tall. So I hit D for dimension. 8 plus 3/4. Actually put plus sign there. And I'm going to go here. 14 even. And I'm going to extrude this. I'm going to hit the home so I can see what I'm doing. And the thickness I said was 0.387. I'm going to double check that quickly with my calipers, which you can't see obviously, but 0.287. Yep. Oh. Yeah, 0.287. So I mismeasured that. 0.287. Okay. I now need to add some, I need to add the center screen. So I'm going to start a sketch on here. I'm going to do a second point rectangle. I know the screen is slightly off center vertically from the thing because I have a bit of a chin. So I'm going to do a vertical constraint between the center of the second square and the center origin. And this is 0.771. Again, I'm going to double check that with my caliper live. .210. And I believe the top is the same, but I'll double check that too because I might as well get it right if I'm doing it. Oh, it's actually slightly lower. 0.29. 0.24. And the bottom section, I'm going to use the head of the caliper to figure that out. Measuring upside down. That is 0.982. 0.982. And I'm going to extrude. I'm going to cut this screen in by just a hair. I'm going to be very careful measuring this because I don't want to put a dent in my screen. 0.063. And I want to cut that inwards. And I'm going to hit OK. Edit. Oh, it's not pointing the right way. Make sure the arrow's pointing inwards and hit OK. And now I have the start of my screen. Next step is I'm going to fill out the edges. The top edges here are 0.2, I think. Apply. I'm also going to set the back of the screen to be a slightly different color. So I'm going to make this properties, right-click on the surface, properties, and I'm going to make this black so I can tell where the screen itself is. Makes it easier for me to tell what's happening. So from here, I need to build the chin that goes down past here in the hinge, which I didn't notice when I initially took the measurements. So I'm going to start a sketch on the bottom of this thing. I'm going to start on the back. I'm going to project geometry. And I'm going to draw a rectangle. Oh, I'm going to draw a 2-point rectangle like this. And I'm going to make sure that this is vertical to this wall. Oh, I'm going to try coincident, that this corner and this corner are exactly the same. I'm going to drag this out of the way and try again. Coincident. I'm going to grab the corner and then the corner again. There we go. And this chin, this little like rear chin hingy portion, is hard to measure, but it looks like it is 0.41. And that gets to get extruded forward. And it's going to go the opposite direction, go inside there. And that thickness is 0.165. 0.165. And now I need to fillet this and this and this and this. And that gives me the basic shape. I could put the camera on, but I don't really care. The camera's basically useless because it looks up your nose, which is kind of silly. I do need to put the hinge portion. So I'm going to start a sketch on here. And I need to draw a rectangle. And I know it's starting, nope. It's going to start on this line here. And it's going to start on that line. And I'm going to make sure I hit F7 to slice graphics. But first project this line here. Then F7. And I'm going to make sure that this line is on this line here. And that the middle of this section is in the middle of that. So this is centered now. And I just have to get the dimension. And it's a long measurement for a caliper. So I'm just going to measure from the outside edge and use that as my reference, which is 0.1 or 1.25. That's a really nice measurement. So it's probably right. 1.25. And the extrusion goes up about 0.448. 0.448. And then we're going to fillet this till we get a nice round shape. So I'm going to go look and see what this is. That's probably a little too tight. 0.158. That looks really good. And then just to make everything work better, as I'm going to start a sketch here. And I'm going to punch a hole in this so I can actually make my laptop close. I know this hinge is here and the center of this line. So there's low, medium, high, and this is, and then extrude. I'm going to set this dimension. It doesn't matter. It's a made up dimension. 0.125, just an eighth of an inch. Extrude. And I'm going to cut all the way through. So this is the screen for my laptop. So I'm going to save this as laptop screen. And I can save this.